Hey, folks, this is Andrew Rose, the producer of The Liars Club, and Jessica, Felicia, and I just want to say thank you so much for giving the podcast a listen. We hope that you're enjoying all the crazy stories, the truths, and the lies. Please give us a rate, a review, a subscribe on whatever podcast app you are listening to, be that Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, anything like that. We would really appreciate it. Also, we have live shows that are going to be coming out pretty soon. Also, live episodes that are coming out very soon. Go to The Liars Club 1 on Instagram. Follow the link in the bio, and that's where you can grab the tickets for any of our live shows that are coming up. Thank you.
Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to.
By the way, Jessica, I just want to say you look pretty good considering you were out till 4 in the morning last night.
That's because I didn't shower or anything and I just laid down like a dead person, you know, like in a coffin, and woke up just like I went to sleep.
Right, so you haven't washed the makeup
no.
off your face either. I haven't either. So anyway, but I just want to say that you look really great. And we have great guests today. And why don't you go ahead and introduce our first guest?
Okay, over here to my left, he is a door guy here. He is making big headway. You're headlining all kinds of places all over the... You got a great podcast with Derek Poston. This is Ehsan Ahmad.
Hey. Oh, everybody, what's up? I'm excited to be here.
Good. Welcome to the show. And what is the name of your podcast?
The name of my podcast is called Spoil the Beans. The premise is my friend Derek, another door guy, has seen every movie imaginable multiple times, and I've seen no movie. So he just explains the whole plot of a movie that I've never seen.
Oh, wow.
So just mean we riff on it.
Oh, wow. Well, welcome to the show. And our second guest, who's already biting at the bit.
Horse analogies. I feel pretty. Do it.
Is someone I've known for a very long time. And every time I think about...
century.
Every time I think about Jackie Kashian, what do you think I think about Jackie Kashian?
Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Yes, that's exactly right.
The westward hoe and the pool that was shaped like a boot.
Yes.
It was the best thing about that. It was like a hood ornament on a really crummy car.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the Westward Ho was a comedy venue, and it was around for a long time. Then that guy did coke, and it went under.
No,
coke.
No, that wasn't why it went under. It went under because it literally went under when they had the big flood.
Right, but he would have had some money to bring it back.
Well, he's a friend of mine, so we're going to... I see it different.
You're like,
Jackie.
Felicia Michaels is like, I would like to work whatever he's booking now.
Right.
So
No, he
allow
doesn't
us not
book
to
anything,
slam
but
anything.
there are a handful
Is he still doing coke?
No, he is
there
not.
you go.
He's a happy person,
There
a
you
well-adjusted person with a
Then-
lovely family,
I used
and
to
a
drink.
little boy that he is a wonderful father to.
And I used to drink like a fish and get laid. So
Yeah.
if anybody's got a story about
I
it
shook
doesn't
my
mean
titties
that it didn't
professionally
happen.
for a $20 bill. I mean,
Right,
we all
got
shit.
all of our past.
Jackie Kashian, everybody.
Hi, I'm Jackie Kashian. Clearly making friends right from the get.
What's the
Jackie?
podcast called? Burning Bridges, right?
Yeah,
Is that what
Jackie, you might not know this, but when I first moved here, one of the first shows that I went to and actually paid to see was yours at Flappers.
Flappers, right there in the main room?
Yep, with my friend Robin, and we said hi to you. But you, how many people probably say hi to you?
Well, a lot of people say hi. Did I say hi back?
You
Was I
did.
a
You stopped and
jackass?
chatted with us
there
for a
we go.
second. You were very
thank
nice. And
It's,
yeah.
It's always like, hopefully I was not a monster.
So that was the first show you went to?
Here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. The first show I ever hung out on here in Los Angeles was at the Virgil, and Jackie was headlining.
Wow.
You guys, turns out I'm willing to do a set. So if anybody wants to move here, find out where I'm going to pick up a set.
Yeah, that's how you start now.
That's how I start.
You got to watch
start.
Jackie.
I don't have a Jackie Kashian. First person I ever saw in L.A., thank God. She would have been like 8.
I don't know.
But when I drove to Los Angeles, I stopped in Vegas, and guess who I got to see live? Joan Rivers at Caesar's Palace.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that
dope.
was a really cool thing to see.
Way to
were
really
like-
one-up Jackie Kashian.
Well, let me tell you about Felicia Michaels was one of the first women comics I ever saw. There was it was Vanda Michaels, who's now Vanda
right.
Michalowski.
Yes.
And because that was her name the whole time. You guys, it was a secret. And then she came out as someone Polish. And then, and then Diane Ford, which
Diane
was,
Ford, yes.
it was, I rose from it bloody but unbowed because she was super mean to me. And,
really?
But she murdered on stage. She was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then yourself. And then there were two other road comics that I cannot remember their names, very sadly. I do remember that one of them had the first, she was like, I got some advice for you, kid. And I was 19, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, comedy advice. Let's hear it from a road comic. Let's hear it. And she goes, lipstick, always lipstick.
My grandma would have gave the same
I
advice.
was like, what does that have to do with stand-up comedy? She's like, people got to see your mouth move. And I was like, men's mouths move. And
I
they
wonder who that was.
see them. I don't know.
Wow.
Could have been anyone.
Interesting.
Could have been anyone.
How was
the
Felicia
day.
back in the day? Was she shitty?
No, she was super nice. You were incredibly nice.
You, Jessica.
But it's a nice reveal, though, is that Felicia Michael's always super supportive, really nice, and and it was right after the crazy Playboy thing. I think I've told this story 100 times, but let's tell it again.
Okay.
Remember, it was after the Playboy thing, and Grand Forks, Westward Ho is right by an Air Force base.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And so they all brought their Playboys for you to sign.
Yes.
And you're like, I'll sign the boob page. I won't sign the other pages. And
Right.
then one of the officers was like, well, do you guys want to see the stealth bomber? And you said, maybe. And then you looked at me and you said, you're going with me. And that's what I remember. And then we went and it was super fun.
We went and flew the stealth simulator.
And we got to go in a stealth bomber.
Yeah.
And
that's
which
cool.
was giant
pretty
and
dope.
black and weird.
Oh, yes. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know Felicia was in Playboy.
I picked that up from context clues.
Back in the day.
She just talked about shaking her titties. So
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
figured it was all part of it. Unless this is the
back in
whole
the
thing is
I
a
used
lie.
to steal boobs.
What's
Let's
happening?
do this.
Oh my God! Last night I was doing a gig with Jake Johansson, and he brings me up on stage and he says, "Because people are like, we know each other from way back when,
Yeah.
right? But now it's getting to the point where Jake Johansson was like, he introduces me this way: this next performer is older than me, and he introduces me, and then I go over there, and I'm like, bitch, you're older than me.
Yeah.
Older than me.
What is
I
happening?
stand, I got like a little huffy, and the crowd was like, uncomfortable.
Fair enough. Yesterday, I mentioned he's probably 5 or 6 years ago, Jake Johansson, a man who belongs on a pedestal.
Yeah, he's a
'Cause,
great guy.
The
yeah.
guy's a great guy. He's a great comic. He writes the good jokes. Was selling a T-shirt that literally said "Touch It." And I was featured for him. It was probably 15 years ago. I don't know. It was my home club, so I would do all the spots, right? And so, but I remember him having that T-shirt that said "Touch It," and I said to him, "What the hell is going on? Why is Jake Johansson selling a dick joke T-shirt?" And he looked at me, dead serious, and he goes, "I have a mortgage. Leave me alone." And I said, "Noted." And I went. I kept moving.
Sometimes he's a great guy, by the way.
I
He's a
told
great
that
guy.
story, by the way, on what will be the next episode of one of my podcasts, The Jackie and Laurie Show, which is a podcast about stand-up comedy. So
Yeah,
if people
it's a
listen
very
to this,
popular podcast.
well, if people listen to this and they like stand-up comedy, Laurie Gilmartin and I celebrate and bitch about the stand-up comedy.
Laurie's
And then
great, too.
the
Yeah, I
door-
saw her, the special she taped here about her dad.
Oh, did you get to
went to
see
that.
45 jokes about my dead dad?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It was great.
And
Yeah,
she's got a
that's-
book out, too, Dead People Suck.
Yeah. God, fuck her, man. Anyway, so what we do
all
is we
working
ask
out.
two of our friends to come by and tell two stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And Jessica and I will pepper you with questions. Don't panic. She gets very aggro about it, though, a little bit. But and we'll alternate stories. And who would like to start first?
I'm starting first?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Both of my stories are kind of two-parters, but first story. I was taking my grad school entrance exam test. I was taking my grad school entrance exam test, right? And my phone just keeps blowing up because I forget to put it on silent, right? And then so I finish the test, and I get out, and it's my friend Derek, another door guy, the guy I do the podcast with, and he calls me
You knew Derek back in grad school?
when I was applying to grad school, yeah.
What was he doing?
Sleeping on my couch. So he calls me up, and Derek has a friend in the NFL. And he goes, "Hey, man, my friend and his friends are in town playing the Chargers, because they were at the Rams at the time. they need someone to sell them weed. Never sold weed in my life before, but I'm the only one he knows with a medical card. So I end up giving him his friend, who's a special team captain's on the Titans.
Isn't drugs? Don't they get drug tested in the NFL?
Weed, they have a certain date. So you get for weed, the date is this day, and that's the only day they test for weed. And it's right before the season, so they can smoke during the season, pretty much. This is the NFL's way of saying, hey, like 2 months before this date, don't smoke.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a specific date for marijuana. PEDs is the one that's random, and so
What's PEDs?
performance enhancing
Yeah.
drugs, so like steroids.
I went with erectile dysfunction.
Well, technically, the same thing.
Redundancy. Performance.
Yeah, so I ended up buying, and then one of them is like an all-pro cornerback now on another team, right? I don't know if I should say their names.
No, don't say their names.
And so I ended up buying them $200 worth of weed brownies. I'm so starstruck, I forget to overcharge them, so I just sell it to them at market price. You know, I made no money off the transaction.
You lost money because you took your car and you took gas and everything, your time.
Yeah, but no, it was delivery, so I didn't really. They paid me the money, so I didn't have to do anything. And then the next day, one of the guys I sold weed to scored a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. That's my. I take credit for that.
And what year was that?
This is 2015, I believe. That's when I would be applying to grad school. And so I think nothing of it for a couple months, right? And then I get a call from Derek, like, hey, my friend, he's going to Vegas. He says you can come along, right? So
And that's the star player.
that's
One of the football guys?
one of the football guys,
Okay.
right? So I go to Vegas. We go to one of the hotels, like on the top floor. Derek is already there. I knock, and the door opens, and it's just a bunch of NFL players. And I walk in, and then they look at me like, this is happening. Right? So my whole thing is I pretend to be like their money manager because I look like some Saudi Arabian dude. So that was like that was like my story.
Or you look like somebody that could be going in to do acupuncture or something.
Yeah, I'm here to massage the guys. That's my job. So Derek's friend, he's got a bunch of girls with him, right? So he goes, "Hey, you can't hang out with me. Here's another one of my. Here's another NFL player. You're hanging out with him tonight, right?"
He said you were an NFL player?
Huh?
No.
No.
Oh,
He
you
said
just
that he
tossed
couldn't
him
hang
over.
out with him and all of the women that he wanted to hang out with and keep their attention.
Right.
He
so,
didn't want someone who might be funnier than him.
Well, maybe he doesn't know who I am, but
Right.
not really. So he sends me off with an NFL player. I can't say his name, but in Vegas we had to call him by a fake name because there were a bunch of girls that knew who he was, and they were looking for him. So we had to call him a fake name. So we'd have to call him Eric. He was a linebacker, so this is a linebacker named Eric, right? So it's me, Derek, and this linebacker named Eric, and we're just out and about. The entire plan is we're going to meet up at a club with Derek's friend who has the girls, right? So before we get to the club, Eric decides to gamble all his money. So he is up $26,000 by the time when we start
my
gambling.
God.
And he is just...
Derek, the door guy here?
Yes.
Who slept on your couch?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, and he doesn't stop at up 26,000.
Oh, he does. Yeah, this linebacker named Eric is a crazy motherfucker.
So it was Eric or Derek?
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
All right,
Yeah.
so Derek is the door guy
He's the
here
door
at the
guy.
company.
And
He didn't gamble.
No, he's
He
with
didn't
me. We're just
gamble.
being pulled along by this
But
linebacker.
Eric, the
the
Linebacker.
football guy who has an
linebacker
income,
gambled.
Yes.
was gambling.
Yes.
Okay, fair
Okay.
enough.
Yes.
All right.
And he's-
Not the door guy.
No,
the
not
door
the door
guy. That guy doesn't have any money.
You gotta make
He's
shit
the
clear.
door guy.
Yeah.
He has hopes and aspirations, which doesn't make him not
Yeah.
a person.
Not suspicious at all, Derek and Eric. Not
Yeah.
suspicious.
So he's up $26,000, right? Over the course of an hour, he's down $10,000, right?
Okay, but he's still up.
He's
No,
he's
he's
down
down.
$10,000. So he was up. So he's a $36,000
Ah!
turnover.
Okay.
Right. We go to the last roulette table, and he goes, "Hey, this is the last amount of money I have. If I don't hit, we can't get into the club. There's no way." He puts it on one number, on roulette, hits it, breaks even. We go to the club. That's that. I just end up hanging out with NFL players. We never really meet up with Derek's friends. He's busy having threesomes and shit like that. We watch one actually, but other than that story. That's the end of the
You
story.
and Derek just watched a threesome?
Yeah, it was me, Derek, and Eric. We were in the friend's room because we were
There were
rolling
6
joints.
people. There were 6 people. 3 people having some sort of really sloppy sex.
Yeah.
And 3
I don't know
people
if you've
trying to
ever
roll
been
a
in a
joint.
threesome, but it's really annoying.
Wow. Wow.
That's a story.
That's a story.
That's the
You
story.
do, I do know that Derek for sure has NFL friend. He does a whole bit about it, and I believe that.
Yeah.
Because why would someone lie in their act?
Well, they would.
No, I'm kidding. Because people don't. I mean, that's the weird thing about stand-up comedy. Is like there's always a grain of truth. With like you're like my mom's is like, and you're like that can't possibly be true, and you're like no, that's a true part.
Yeah.
And you're like she's out of her mind. He's a piece of work. Anyway.
Well, that's a good first strong story, you know. All right.
Yeah. Come down to the last bet. Vegas doesn't work that way.
I mean, it's a place of dreams. I don't, you know. It
Was
does
Matt
for some
Damon
people.
there? Was Matt Damon there?
No, Colin Kaepernick was though.
What?
I mean, that's not Matt Damon level of famous, but this is before he took the knee.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
This is just after.
So then that
they
guy
had
Eric
yeah.
is on Colin Kaepernick's team.
No.
First of all,
No.
Colin Kaepernick no longer has a team.
Yeah.
Well,
They all-
that was how many years ago? Yeah.
They all hang
2
out
years
with
ago.
each other. They all like it was a bunch of different players
Okay.
from a bunch of different
Okay.
teams there.
All right, good save. All right, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. And Jackie, what's your first?
Oh,
story?
well, now, since you guys are going to judge me anyway, why don't you pick which story I tell? The one set in Australia or the one set in England?
The one set in Australia.
No, England.
Oh, because she knows about England.
I'm going to tell both of them. That is true.
Jessica gets, you know, why she said England is because she spent time in England while she was in the Air Force.
Well,
so this way
let's
she'll
do
try-
England. We'll do
she'll-
England first. That'll be
thinks
exciting
she'll
for
catch it
you.
alive.
Okay.
This is an exciting story. Let me set the scene. It's 1989. Which is a long time before many of you were born, or whatever. But don't tell me.
Why did you bring that up?
Whatever it was, but it's 89. I am there on an exchange program where I get to have a work visa for up to 6 months. I get the dumbest job in the world. But I get 2 jobs, actually. One is at a youth hostel, and I work from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Why would you get a job in England? Why did you do that?
Because I always wanted to travel. And so I was allowed a thing. And so I worked, I had a summer job, saved up enough money to get there, and then got a 2 shitty day jobs. One was, and plus I wanted to do stand-up in London. And I ended up doing it twice. It was dumb. Anyway, the whole experience was pretty dumb, except for the story I'm about to tell you. Okay. I worked at the youth hostel from 6 in the morning until 9 in the morning, serving people breakfast, getting to eat breakfast, and that paid for my housing. And
No,
then
you just changed the time.
6. Well, yeah, because at 11 a.m. I went to my second job, which was at the Odeon West End in Leicester Square, and it's a movie theater. In 1989, I worked at the movie theater in Leicester Square, and I watched High Spirits 26 times because that came out that year. Liam Neeson was the best thing about it; he was not the star. Anyway, so that same year, that same fall, Roger Rabbit came out. The movie Roger Rabbit came. Why is that gotten a lot of nodding? You're like, oh, we recognize the name of that film.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't recognize the other one, but this one we know.
Well,
I worked at the
because
movie theater.
Number
Okay.
one, when you're like, oh, Roger Rabbit, I remember when that came out, so it puts me in that time.
There you
That's
go.
why, yeah.
So Roger Rabbit comes out. There is a big premiere of it in Leicester Square at the theater, at my movie theater. And guess who fucking came to it? Princess Diana and Prince Charles came and saw Roger Rabbit. Oh. Yeah, at my fucking movie theater.
Were they announced like when they came in?
No, it was a it was like literally it was a social event where they put a red the name of my manager was a guy named Mr. Hilton, and I worked the box office, and we all got to meet them. We got
You got to meet Diana?
Yeah,
Princess
before
Diana.
Yeah, and she was incredibly polite, and then I killed her. No, I didn't. That would have been. That's what makes this a lie. No, but the thing is no, we got to meet both of them, and they were nice. But anyway,
Did you know they were coming in?
yeah, we knew they were coming in.
Well, we always knew Princess Diana was nice. What are you saying like it's a crazy thing?
Well, I didn't know she was nice. I didn't know who the fuck she was. I was never into. I don't know who anyone is. Anyway, but I was wearing my uniform, which was this gray polyester skirt and a candy striped red and white. Oh, it was the worst. It was literally this white and red candy striped blouse with a big bow, a big red bow that would lay flat like a wilting bow. And so whatever. But so I didn't have to do anything I didn't have to dress better. I still had my shitty youth hostel washing clothes, whatever. So yeah, so that's the story. Mr. Hilton was very fun. Both of my stories connect in the fact that I'm awkward in both of them, because Mr. Hilton, for every lunch, would go to lunch and get hammered and come back and be like reek of liquor. He was the manager, and he would stand too close, and that's all he did, just breathe on you. And you're like, hey, brush a tooth, man. Anyway, so but he was. What I remember was that he was sort of half in the bag when she was there.
Now, the real question is, what does royalty order at the snack?
Oh, well, the weird thing, I don't know, but the weird thing about the snack thing was that I always wanted free popcorn, and they count the buckets.
Shut up.
So you had to bring your own fucking bucket, and I always forgot to bring a cup or anything, so I'd have to go over and say, can I have some popcorn, and hold out my hands. And then they give me a handful of popcorn.
Huh. It's interesting when you've known someone for as long as I've known Jackie, and I've seen Jackie in a lot of different arenas, walking around life, and it was interesting to see you tell that story, because I've never seen you that fucking animated.
Oh,
This was Roger Rabbit.
I know, but you should. I wish people could see your face, because you're not normally an overly animated person.
It's because it's like. When I thought about these stories, because I'm like, well, because the second story. Do you want me to go next?
No,
you want me to tell the second?
No, we're gonna rotate it. All right.
Because the second story is also fucking nuts.
This chick loves a game, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Are you a
she's
person
good.
that likes to play games, like literally likes to play board games?
Do you get
geek
competitive?
out like that?
Yeah,
Yes.
The Dork Forest is my other podcast.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
You collect lunch boxes.
I know.
All right.
So it's interesting to see this side of you. I'm like, I'm taking it in, is all I'm saying.
Take it in.
All right,
Take
all
it
right.
Oh, yeah, I think my friend Robin she was going to be on your podcast.
Roller derby?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on. She was awesome.
Yeah.
It's any dorkdom. Everyone can be on. What's your dorkdom?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, football.
Football?
Yeah.
Really?
It's hard to do sports because I don't care. But I can try to care.
All right.
I had a guy on who gave me the history of sort of the professional sports leagues, the AFL, the NFL, the something L, whatever.
Right, all the L's.
Yeah, all the L's
all
and
the
an
L's.
F and the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and then and Greg Proops did the history of baseball players from 1865 to
nice.
1935.
Ooh, there's some
very
interesting ones
nice.
there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm
Very
a big
nice.
sports. I'm a big sports guy. Yeah. You said that like you were shocked.
Well, yeah. But, I mean,
You hung out with NFL guys.
Well, it's like Jason Tebow is really into football, and like,
yeah, but he's got the name for it.
right. But I never would have
Is
thought.
it Jason Gaslight Tebow?
I never thought that, that when you look at him, it doesn't scream football.
He
just
doesn't,
like,
no.
Yeah, just like when you look at
Yeah, Tebow screams French.
And then let's stop there. Okay. All right. So your second story.
Okay, we're not reversing. We're on me first. All right. So the second story is about the only time I've ever done cocaine. This was I was
Already.
I was visiting home. This is
In the Bay?
2016ish in the Bay.
The Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
Yeah.
And so my parents live like 45 minutes from San Francisco. So I was gonna go to San Francisco, do a couple shows, go to this party.
Walnut Creek.
Saratoga.
Okay.
Go to the party, and then spend the night at my friend's house who lived in San Francisco, right? The party I was going to was this guy who had seen me do stand-up there like a year earlier. He was like, hey, come by this party if you're in town. So I go there, and on the door, there's like this secret code to get in, and I had to download an app, and I had to like answer the questions and do all that. It's like very high-tech, and I get it right, and the door opens, right? And I go in, and it's just crazy. There's a bunch of people there. They're all Asian, so they all can't really handle their alcohol very well. They're just
Bunch of
drinking
red-faced
red.
Asians in
so
there.
red, so red. there's like a stripper pole in there, and like people are like doing their thing, right? And I don't really know anyone. I just know the guy who sort
The
of
racial
party.
profiling makes me think that this is true.
I grew up around a lot of Asians, so I talk a lot of shit about them.
Right back at you.
Yeah.
Sure. Right back at you from the Asian. I don't know anything. I'm Armenian.
So there's another girl there, and we sort of start chatting, and she's beautiful, like Chilean girl, and I can't remember her name, and she doesn't know anyone at the party either. She sort of snuck in with another group of people trying to get in. So like we just hit it off. We start talking, right? She has a little baggie with her. She's like, "You want some?" And I was like, "Well, I'd normally never do it, but she's hot enough for me to do this." Right? So we're taking
Where'd
off
she
keys
pull
and
that
stuff.
baggie out of?
She had like a little purse. It was like it's the only way I could describe it. It's like those little Kleenex bags. The only thing they could use is for cocaine, pretty much. You know, that's the only thing I've ever seen in them. Like
You
these
can also
tiny
put
Ziplocs.
buttons in them.
You could also put buttons in them, but I've never seen that.
Meeples. You can, with board games, you can keep. Anyway.
Meeples and buttons.
You mean a meeple bag? That's what we call it in board game language. We call it a meeple bag. No, go ahead. Sorry.
And so we're drinking. I take a couple bumps off the key, and then
Oh, look at you with the
Yeah,
language.
I know.
bumps.
You're like, I never saw cocaine before. So then I'm doing the bumps.
well, I never. It's not like I never had the opportunity before. This is the first
Right.
time I was like, oh, I'll do it. All right. My favorite part of the party is that the guy who hosted it, this is like his birthday. He gathered everyone in the living room, and then he did a set of comedy. Like that was his like thing. It's like, I'm gonna do comedy for the first time on my birthday, and he just bombed in front of all his friends.
His friends didn't even
All
support
his
him.
friends. No, you were at a party. Why are you like stopping
But
everyone?
it's his birthday. You think people would at least chuckle?
Yeah.
Well, he could have brought a guitar out. It could have been worse. Could have been worse.
Could have been
People-
way worse.
Yeah, but you know, when your friends are all doing coke at a party, you're not going to get them to shut up long enough to do comedy for them.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it was-
like, oh my God, when is it going to end?
It's someone who's never really done stand up before and doesn't know what it takes at all. You know, he thought this is a good idea, and it really wasn't. But I was dying. I had a great time. Nothing is better than watching a non-comedian bomb. I think that's one of the greatest joys in life for me. Yeah, and then we go back to her place, and I just can't get it up.
I don't believe that you went back on the first night with a girl.
Jessica.
Wow.
Jessica.
That's so funny. That's so funny. No, man, I have some game. I'm not totally Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I'm
No,
not
but
like
you're-
some virginal dude.
You're more of the
You
long.
didn't ask her to be your girlfriend and then like 2 weeks later not get it up?
No, that's usually
I like
that's
that
usually
she didn't worry about you not getting it up at all.
That's
She was
usually
like,
that's usually my game plan. That's how it normally works. But this is one of those like I'm out of myself type moments. You're like I'm gonna be different, and
You're like,
then
I
it
did
just
coke. I'm gonna
yeah
have sex
I'm
on
gonna
this
do
first
this,
night.
and it just didn't work, and I was so ashamed. I took
Let
an
me ask you a
Uber all the way
question.
back to my parents'
Did you
house.
think your mouth was broken? You know what I mean? Like you still could have fun.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was just so out of it that I was like, I felt so ashamed. I felt very like, oh God, something's wrong, and I got to get out of here. It was a very like I need to go. It was
So
it
you
was
guys
a lot of
but you guys made out for a while.
yeah, all that
Little touchy feely.
touchy feely, but then when it came down to
you
it,
didn't lose the bones in your fingers. Right?
no,
Thank God.
no.
Weird side effect of cocaine.
It just bleh.
It seemed like you could have had other choices to finish the evening.
Yeah, well, you know, this is not a situation
sure
that I'm
she had a
normally in.
lovely time.
So I panicked hard. I'm a
I'm
panicker.
sure she had a lovely time, all cooked up with some guy panicking that he can't get it up and runs out of her apartment.
So how did it go exactly? So you're making out, you're having a good time, and then you can't get it up. And would you tell that to her, or did she like?
No.
She's like, "What's going on? I can't get it up."
That it becomes very apparent that
Jessica,
yeah, I mean she wasn't as aggressive as that.
is that what you say, Jessica, when a man can't get it up with you?
Because then that I think I couldn't get it up out of fear. That was.
Like it, just go, hey, is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Tried to clap and it didn't. Nothing happened.
And then what did you say in return to her?
Joke. Nice.
I was like, this has never happened. I don't know. Let's keep
This has
trying.
never happened.
This has
That was
never
your line.
Well, yeah, because it's never happened before. I don't have a lot of sex.
How old were you?
I was probably 22.
Yeah, there's no way it wouldn't have worked.
22,
I mean,
23.
it had always been working previously, right?
Yeah.
And since then?
Yes.
Have you done cocaine since?
No.
Okay.
It's the only time.
Right.
No one hot enough again has come around. It's always been dudes that offer it to me.
Well, and you don't.
That's why I was like, I don't know.
And then what if you got a boner? Then of course this has been a giant learning experience.
Yeah, then it's like, I'm not ready to learn that much about myself, really.
It is weird that Jackie said, "Did you flick it? Did you flick it?" That,
Yeah.
that's a big
Oh,
reveal.
I've got game. I've got game. A lot of people wonder about my.
Jackie Cation.
About my.
You gotta get the blood
All right.
flowing.
I'm romantic.
All right. Interesting. So your first story was about partying with the NFL guy, and did you smoke weed when you partied with the NFL guy?
Yes,
He
absolutely.
smokes weed.
I'm a weed
Sure.
smoker.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then
For
the second
sure.
story is being on coke and not being able to come to fruition, as we could call it.
Right.
Yeah.
Could
young
call
lady.
it that. Why don't we?
Or
That was
we could flick it. Or
that
we
was a
could
very
flick
nice
it.
way to put it.
All right, and then Jackie's first story was about working at a movie theater in London, England, and she got to meet Prince Charles and
Princess Diana.
Did you shake their hands? Did you kneel? Did you do anything?
There was no kneeling. There was, and I didn't touch them. And we were all just sort of lined up, and there was a hello, and we all just sort of helloed back.
And there was, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
police everywhere and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, it was surrounded by humanity. There was a lot of,
Yeah.
and there was a throng.
What is a
tell you.
throng?
It's a bunch of people. It's a lot of people.
So, let me
Welcome
ask
to
you
new
this.
vocabulary with Jessica Wellington.
What is tell us one thing that is there anything you noticed about Princess Diana that you don't think the general public knew about her just from being in her presence?
No, I don't know anything about Prince. I didn't know anything about her at the time.
She couldn't have been much older than you, right?
Right, I
mean,
think we were of an age. We didn't go to
Yeah.
school together or anything, but I
Yeah.
mean, it was, but we were, but and
she's probably like 10,
the world
15
went
years older
batshit.
than you. Yeah.
yeah, the world had gone batshit, but it was prior to like all of like the mine, like they had just gotten. She had just had the fairy tale wedding, and it was like only like a couple years
Right.
earlier, right? Or I don't know
she
when
was
they
still
got.
really thin.
Oh, she was
She
super
was
thin.
always thin, though.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
filled out. Remember? She filled out those.
When she had kids, she got all pregnant and fat. And then all of a sudden gestated like a baby or something. It's weird.
You know what I just remembered?
What?
I was working in Grand Forks, North Dakota when she died. I was working at that club when she died.
At the Westward Ho?
yeah.
was that club named after you?
The Westward.
Oh, yeah. That's
We're done, right? That's the end of the podcast?
worthy of the comedy.
Yeah, where can you go from there?
Wow, Jessica, I
calls
love it.
back.
I love it.
It's a Kennison, Carl LeBeau like moment. All right.
All right, Jackie, your second story.
My second story takes place in Australia, a little town on the west coast of Australia called Kalgoorlie. It is where the super pit is. It is the largest gold mine in the world. And the way they mine gold...
And no, my vagina's not called the super. All right, Jessica.
Bam! You got to preemptively get in there before... Yeah,
Cut 'em
right?
off at the pass.
That's what she said. I got to preemptively get in there. And so... and the way they mine in Kalgoorlie is... So there's a whole town that's it's like a mining town, but it's big. And it's known in Australia for having legalized whorehouses, legalized prostitution.
Okay.
And so we're told it's me and I believe 3 or 4 other comics. I can't remember anymore because this was in 2005, 2006. And so we're there. We're told that we can go to the whorehouse and they will give you a tour. And there's a whorehouse.
Is it still
That would be
working?
fun.
What?
Is it a working whorehouse?
It's a working
or like
whorehouse.
A museum?
A working whorehouse that you can go to the rooms that are not in use, and they're themed. And so it's like something out of Love American Style, for those of you who have antenna TV. Anyway, me TV, anyone? Anyway, so, so we get there, and it looks like...
What are some of the themes of the rooms?
Well, there's like an Egyptian room, and there's like a romance room with a heart-shaped bed. Like it's all kind of ridiculous, right? It's different. It's whatever themes. I'm sure there's
There's a place up here in Northern California called the Madonna Inn that has themed rooms.
rooms?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this place, this is all a whorehouse, though. The
Right.
Madonna Inn's a hotel, I think, right? Right?
But it probably works as a whorehouse from time to
rent by
time.
the hour. And so we pull up. We pull up, and it's me, these three dude comics, and the tour guide person. The tour manager is a woman. We all go. We're gonna all go on this tour. It's $35 a person to do it, and we walk in, and the place just feels like someone's been murdered here every year and a half. Like the vibe is so, and I don't do vibes, and I was like, oh, I can't. I don't think I can. But what the great thing about the whorehouse was that it had department store windows. It was a one story. It looked like an old grade school. It was like it looked like a department store, and in it there were mannequins of different race ladies wearing ball gowns. And so you're like, well, do you pick? Is it like a point to the menu item? And then we went in, and they had a gift shop, and
Was it, what kind of gift shop? Was it like pleasure toys or?
they had pleasure toys. They also, I did buy some postcards, and which had pictures of the different rooms in them. Like there was,
But no girls in them?
there was only one person that we ever met, and it was a very stern, like just weirdly, and not old, like a 30-year-old, very stern with a bun kind of lady going, all right, do you want the tour? $35. Do you want the tour? And as a group, we all said no. But the other weird thing about this
didn't do the
town-
tour.
We
You
did
didn't do
not
it.
do the tour. But here was the weird thing about it is that we ran into that same woman because everybody went to the same like 3 bars, including the comics on the tour. So we go to this bar, and all the bars in Kalgoorlie are also topless bars. And so
Sounds like a
Hold on,
great place.
So, I mean, this might seem stupid, but as to everything I say, but would you mean topless bars in that it was a strip club, or
No.
that you could just be topless drinking a beer?
all the wait staff was topless. You're right. You're right. That was unclear. No, it was. I mean, the crazy thing is so that like we were in this, and all the wait staff are topless, and we have all these guys are coming up to me and the tour manager going, "I'll give you $20 if you take off your top." To me and the tour manager, we're just like, what the fuck? There's 100 boobs in here you can look at. I'm like, why do you want to look at the ones that are all covered up?
But that's the thing. In a situation where you can see all the boobs, the best boobs are the ones you can't see.
Right.
Yeah, I guess those
Yeah.
are the mystery boobs.
Unless you're on coke, right?
And,
Well, then you're trying to figure that shit out.
so yeah, I mean, it's not as exciting, but it's
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the lie part. I'm now a whore in Kalgoorlie. I go there once a year. And
I've
I make
always
extra money.
suspected. Wow. It's interesting now watching you tell that story, Jackie, because the first story you told it with such a smile on your face, like you were in on like that, like you're in on, right? Am I making? And then the second story, you were much more like descriptive of kind of what went down and not as animated in your face.
Although, I mean, she went to a whorehouse that had rooms.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
You said that like it was like you said that like it was case closed and it had what?
Yeah,
One story was definitely more exciting than the other story.
So you think the whorehouse story is more exciting than meeting Princess Diane?
You think I was more excited to go to the whorehouse?
I think you were more excited.
No.
You were more animated.
I was
in
more
telling-
animated in telling the story where I
about
fucking
Princess
met
Di-
the Prince and Princess of England, and that I was in the whorehouse that I didn't go through.
Yeah, but you gave very many descriptions. Do you have any questions, Jessica?
Would you like some more descriptions of me working at the movie theater?
Well, I
Yes,
just,
I
I
would.
I told you about the popcorn, and I told you about Mr. Hilton.
Mr. Hilton.
He was.
Yeah, that just sounds like a TV show.
I mentioned High Spirits. I mentioned seeing that movie High Spirits. It's with Daryl Hannah and Steve Guttenberg, who I always get mixed up with.
Daryl Hannah, isn't that the
Mermaid?
animal guy?
No, Daryl Hannah.
No, that's a guy from
Hanna-Barbera?
Yeah. Who do you think Daryl Hannah is? Yeah, now let's switch up this podcast. What do you know?
So, but any specific
Who's Daryl?
questions? Do we have any specific questions? The floor is open. Andrew, do you have any specific questions for Jackie?
For me. Did you write anything down?
Yeah, just little notes. No, not really. No questions.
No question.
I'm just trying to think. No, I want the what is it? The England one to be true, just because it's a crazy story. That'd be really cool just to have met them, you know. But I don't. No questions. They both seem legit. They seem like they could easily both happen.
Was this
They
after?
weren't that exciting in the long run.
Was this after she had a kid already, or before kids?
In 1989, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Well,
to
no,
dance with
originally
her.
she had just said it was right after the big wedding.
Oh yeah.
Right, it was 1989. I don't know what her she was skinny
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
looked like a princess.
Yeah. Did she wear too much makeup?
She was wearing a lot of makeup. I don't know. I don't wear any makeup, so
Right. Any questions?
Oh my
Jessica?
gosh, she was wearing a lot of makeup.
I'm supposed to wear lipstick on stage. That's what I remember.
All right. Do you have any?
What about
questions?
NFL? NFL questions.
All right. So Andrew, what do you think? Which story do you think of Jackie's is the truth and which one is the lie?
I think the what comics were on the tour with you in Australia?
There was.
That's a lie.
Yeah. Quick, we'll give you time to make it up.
I'm on Jackie's team on this. You don't remember anyone's fucking name.
It was Greg Fleet and
point.
David O'Doherty and Stuart Lee and
Oh, these are English
and-
comics, huh?
yeah, and then there was a guy named Damo Callahan and Damian Clark.
Oh, I thought you said 3 other comics.
Right, I worked 9 weeks, so 4 weeks and 4 weeks. So the Western ones would have been Stuart Lee and David O'Doherty. The Eastern one would have been
All right.
Greg Fleet and the Damians.
God, this is a tough one. What do you think, Jessica?
Well, and in the beginning, in the first story, she said she worked from 6 to 11, and then she said, "Oh, I worked 6 to 9," and she changed that.
Right, and then I worked 11 to 9. And then I went back to the youth hostel. And
No,
then
but
I
you said-
drank
where do
with
you-
the South Africans until 3 a.m. And then I got up and I worked 6 to 9. And then I worked 11 to 9. So, yeah, the numbers were, I said the wrong thing right first.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I see. I understand.
Any question? So, who do you? What story do you think of hers is the real story?
The real story. I think the second one's the real story. I think the first one's a lie. Just because you added you made sure to add certain details in the first one that you didn't add. Like you made small little details that were in the first one that you didn't really add to the second one, which makes me think the second
I
one's
want to know
the true
if
one.
Princess Diana was a Whopper girl, or was she a jujube, whatever they're called.
I didn't work in the concession stand. I worked
What
in
part
the
of the?
tickets. I sold tickets.
Oh, so you were in the little box.
I was in the box with my manageress. That was her name. She had a name, but we had to call her a manageress. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it was.
I think the first story is a lie and the second story is true. What do you think?
I think the first story's true. I think that she's trying to fake us out.
Okay, what do you think, Andrew?
I think that the first one is true, except for the Princess Diana part. I think that part's the lie. I think. That
So you think it's the first one's
yeah,
a lie?
The first
So
one,
she
first
just
one-
worked
first
at a
one-
movie theater?
Okay.
That's just,
Yeah.
Well, no, that's
the story then.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the meat of it, as Jessica always points out, is that Princess Diana was there. That's the lie. But I think you did work.
I think you might have worked in England for a summer or whatever, but I think it's the Princess Diana thing is a lie.
You guys think the first story's the lie. You think the second
Yeah,
story's
Jessica.
the lie.
I think the
so.
first story's a lie as well.
Yeah.
This one. It's always
Yeah.
this way.
So which one is the lie?
The first one.
Yeah.
God dang it!
She did go. They did go to the Roger Rabbit premiere, but it was at the movie theater across Leicester
That's
Square.
what I was thinking. That's what because Anne, you were so animated when you were telling, and you were like looking at me like you were like when people. It was like you were doing a set for me or something, like for all of us. Like yeah, and she's all like, I was like, look, I've never seen this bitch this animated ever. Anyway, all right, great.
What are you talking about? Am I laid back now? Now that you guys know the truth.
All right, so then we're moving on to you, and you could also participate and play along. Is there any questions that you have for him about
This is so
his
nerve-wracking.
stories?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in interrogation right now.
No kidding.
Yeah,
It's,
Jesus.
well, the NFL story seems larger than life and ridiculous, but the second story, there was an app you had to get into somebody's apartment.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
weird,
insane.
right?
I don't know what to do.
I mean, it was Asians.
And this is San Francisco. This is like this is the
It's
tech
tech.
capital of the world.
And this was what, in the last 4 years?
Yes. I was
Okay.
I was doing stand up, so it had to have been.
And you never finished graduate school, right?
Oh, I never.
Why you gotta, why you gotta bring that up? Guy's trying to make something out of himself. He didn't even go to grad school.
No, I just
just
took the
the
test.
test.
I took the test.
He took
That's
the
it.
GRE. Leave him alone.
I took the GRE and I never went.
How'd you do on the GRE? We
I did okay.
We want to go there?
I did pretty good.
All right.
I did pretty good. I mean, I was,
You ever thought about taking an LSAT? Come on, let's
Oh God, what are you, my mom? What's happening?
Andrew, do you have any questions about his stories?
No questions. I do think that I think the NFL one is the lie. You might have heard someone went and had a crazy story, but I feel like being in San Francisco or whatever, that like all the tech happening, that could have been a possibility. So I'm gonna go with that one's true. The San Francisco story is true.
Maybe somebody used your pot card, but that's it.
Yeah, and you're saying the second story is true.
I'm saying that the
Cocaine.
NFL story is a lie.
Okay.
I think that the
Because the thing
NFL.
is you're right about the app thing. I was like, in the last 4 years, there would be some banana head in San Francisco who would insist on having an app to open his.
Slide.
It's just like it's Starbucks. It's like a Hilton's digital key. Tink. Anyway.
I think the NFL is true
Okay.
because I've heard Derek talk about it on stage. That makes me more likely to believe it. And I just honestly don't think Ehsan would really sleep with a girl he just met on the first night. I really don't. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
I don't, and it's confusing to me that you were talking about this apparatus and upon which she carried her cocaine around in. The way you were so
little
archaic
Kleenex.
in that, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, I did a bump." Like stick with what
With
your
what
theme
you're
is.
saying.
Yeah, so I'm
Right.
gonna say the NFL story is true, and the cocaine with the hottest chick on the planet is not true.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
2 on 2.
I don't
I
think
kind of
true.
want to, just because I think you're better at seeing lies, which is weird.
No, I'm
But
not.
I'm going to stick
good
to
at
my
this.
guns. I'm going to say the
I'm
NFL's a
not,
lie.
Jessica's normally way better than I am about figuring out the lie.
It's better. It's easier when you know. See, so you know
Yeah,
Jackie
it was
better.
easier because I could tell in your facial expressions.
I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah, yes, you are.
I was like, I don't know how to.
Like, your eyes were darting around. Like, hey, and then okay, you believe me, right? Hey. I never seen you like that.
Well, that's because I don't lie.
I think
I'm
my
Superman.
favorite
I
still
don't-
might be she was wearing a bunch of makeup.
Sure. I bet she was. I bet she was wearing a bunch of makeup. Do you know why? Because
That was
professionals
the
were
giveaway.
involved.
That was purely the giveaway.
But professionals would have been involved. She would have been made up like a doll, wouldn't she have been?
No, she didn't wear a lot of makeup, Princess Diana.
Because she was the princess of the people. Is that why?
I don't. She just was a plain. She wasn't. She's as later on she started to wear more makeup and get more glamorous and get the nice gowns.
You know a lot about Princess
because
Diana.
I know.
Yeah, holy shit.
Well, my name is Jessica Blair Wellington.
Oh shit. So anyways,
You're related to the Duke of?
I would like to think so.
All right. He beat Napoleon. That ain't a lie. That's the truth.
and Napoleon was even on cocaine at the time. So anyways, all right, that was a dick joke. So so Jessica and I are saying that the NFL story is true, and they're saying that the cocaine story is true, right?
Yep.
Okay, what is the truth?
The NFL story is the true one.
Yeah, baby.
In fact, I had to leave a lot of the details out of the NFL story just because it would seem too incredulous, and then it'd be like it had to be real.
Listen to you, incredulous.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with Brett Favre.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why you had to. Also, and maybe that's why you didn't say the name, because if it was a lie, you would.
I would
maybe
say the name.
You would have
Yeah.
said the name in the story, right?
Yeah, I legitimately can't say the names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they did some stuff that they weren't
Yeah.
supposed to.
All right. Awesome. So, wow, you guys have been so much fun. Thank you for coming and sharing your
storming out.
stories.
I'm storming out.
I would love it. Could you please push over a chair, break the window, but let us get our phones out.
Hold on, but I'm going to choose a winner.
Oh, that's right. So now we're
Because this
doing
is a
this
game
thing
show.
that Jessica picks the best liar.
Oh my God, I should have stormed out before this came.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought this was a lot of fun. Now there's like fresh. It's like fuck. I should have come up with a better story. I could have written it down. I could have. Yeah, rehearsed it.
And by the way, Jessica, that's a tough one to pick the best liar, because these two, don't mean to hurt your feelings. Not the greatest
No,
liars.
very bad liars.
That's why I wanted Augie Smith to come, because that guy can lie his way out of a box.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But
That's a thing.
I think I have to give it to Jackie, because at least she really got into it. You know, like you said, she was into that story. She was animated. She went for it. You know?
I went big.
Yeah.
You did go.
That's
big.
why I thought the NFL story wasn't true, because I thought he went big.
Of the two stories, though, of the San Francisco one, was any of that real at all?
Oh, not the cocaine part, and I didn't go home with her that time.
Right. You would have waited.
I
You
would've
wouldn't have waited on
waited.
the
Yeah,
first night.
that was
That's what
right.
I'm saying.
That was right. But,
Did you have sex with her on another night?
yes.
And you got it up?
Yes.
Okay.
This is okay. This works just fine. Oh, congratulations.
I've never done cocaine. I was
Have
like-
you ever-
It was offered though. That was
Have
on
you
the table. So
ever-
I was like, what would happen if I just took it?
Have you ever opened
door thing
a
is
door?
real. Yeah, the door
Okay,
thing is real.
That's what I want to know.
The door
Okay,
thing was
and here's the
absolutely
thing we should keep as a note to ourselves, that whenever a guy says, I couldn't get it up, that's the lie. Because
Right,
no
'cause
guy
he's
would,
gonna
no
do that.
guy's going to come out and say,
well-
I couldn't get it up.
It's happened to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened before, but
Two sad stories, but
yeah, there's never a
Guys
story behind
guys get to be human. You guys, it's gonna be all right. You can cry. You can be afraid. Your dick's gonna out. It's all right.
All right, so after you guys are crying and being afraid, where can people reach you guys at?
All right.
Oh yeah. You can find me on Instagram at Ehsan Ahmad. That's kind of tough to spell out, but if you follow my podcast Instagram at Spoil the Beans, you can get to it from there.
It's
And
not
check out
just
Spoil the
not
Beans.
start with an A.
No, it starts with an E. So just follow Spoil the Beans. That's the best way to get to me.
Okay, great. And Jackie?
Jackie Kashian is spelled exactly like you might think. Anyway, no, or Jackie is. Anyway, but yeah, you can. The Dork Forest is one podcast. Jackie and Laurie is the other podcast. And you can go to familypetancestry.com to find all of your Jackie Kashian needs, and to find out if your cat came over on the Mayflower.
Wait, what?
Wow.
Family Pet Ancestry. Is your dog a member of the Dogs of the American Revolution? DAR?
Brilliant.
All right, that's a great way to end this podcast. So you guys have been awesome. I have been Felicia Michaels.
I'm Jessica Wellington. You can follow Felicia at Felicia Michaels across the board. I'm Jessica Wellington. Follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. And you've been lied to.